What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. AMC up 45% today, making the biggest move intraday we have seen in quite some time. In this video, I want to talk about what is on everybody's mind. Is this going to force a gamma squeeze? In recent videos, I mentioned that the options chain was a little bit more constricted. Some of the weeklies' highest strike prices were $40 and $60. I want to dive into and take a look at exactly where we stand currently as far as contracts in the money, out of the money, and what delta neutral will look like. I'll break everything down for you. Before we get into it, two things I want to mention. One, I did just move offices. I will be bringing the plant with me very shortly. And two, let's just get this out of the way. Yes, I am a Dolphins fan. Let's get right into the video, guys. This chart, nonstop bullish buying power all day long, continuing after hours, just breaking over $30 as I'm making this video right now. If you zoom out a little bit further and take a look at this daily chart, you can see this monstrous green candle, very bullish candle. If you zoom in even closer, you can see that it doesn't have a long wick on top. A lot of times when you see a long wick on top, that is actually a little bit of a bearish setup, means that there's a lot of sellers at that given price range. You can see this red line I have drawn right here. We've gotten through all of the moving averages, the big ones, the 50, 100, and 200 day, clearing them very nicely. We also did get through this recent level of support we had around the $27 to $28 range. Next level, looking at somewhere around the $33.80, as I have right here. You can see it acted as support, okay, and back in September, and then once again as resistance all the way back in December. It looked to have a little bit of trouble there, and then, like I said, it completely smooth sailing until we move even higher. But let's get to those levels first. Now let's talk about the options chain. First, I want to mention the amount of contracts was insane. 1.2 million traded today, the highest volume out of any ticker on the stock exchange right now, even surpassing Apple, which is always one of the highest, and Tesla after they announced that they were going to ask for shareholder approval for a stock split. All right, now if you look at the Stocko tracker, it shows the amount of contracts that are in the money. And things do weigh a little bit differently. It does show there's 0 shares available to be borrowed. Chances are that some of these funds and brokers have already borrowed the shares, but maybe haven't shorted as of yet, probably waiting on the price action. You can see here for this closest expiration date, about 90,000 in the money and 28,000 out of the money. There are almost 0 puts that are in the money. The highest strike price is $40. This is what I talked about when it comes to a gamma squeeze. Okay, now things do change a little bit before I get into it. As you can see, when you get further dated, especially with some of these monthly contracts, if you look at July 15th, there's still a very large amount that are out of the money, and some of them that are probably really high in the 90s and even higher than that, because obviously last time we ran up, all right, market makers continue to add these strikes in order to be able to kind of save themselves and to continue the price to move even higher and give the availability for that. But as you can see on these weeklies, because they're created on a much shorter time frame, April 1st, the highest is $40. All right, we moved almost $9 just today. If we make another move on that, even if it's a little bit lighter, that 30% range, 20% range, still gives us about a $6 to $7 move higher. The amount of contracts that become in the money, it's just exponential, and it forces market makers to have to buy shares in order to stay delta neutral. Okay, what market makers will do is they will immediately sell you an option contract. Okay, that's why you're able to buy it so quickly, and then have to worry about their risk management later on. And their goal is to stay what's called delta neutral. Okay, now one other thing I do want to mention, which is bullish for AMC, and I don't always talk about GameStop because obviously AMC was one I started talking about on my channel and is the one I am invested in. I am not invested in GameStop personally, but is their borrow rate. As of right now, it is 27% almost. I will refresh that, and it still is just around 27%. The reason why I always look at GameStop and AMC together is because they will run off of sentiment. It's the same reason why when Tesla will get a pop, so will NEO, all right, and Lucid, because they're in the same sectors, all right, and AMC, GME, all right, as far as, you know, BlackBerry and Bed Bath & Beyond, they also had pops today. All right, the reason being is because they run in that same meme sector. So seeing a very high borrow rate is good. And I'm all for GameStop going, because I tweeted a long time ago, when one goes, the other one will go too. Okay, so keep that in mind. Last thing I do want to mention, if market makers do decide to add strikes further out, which I wouldn't be surprised just yet if we did run tomorrow to, let's say, $35, $36, given the fact that it is only Tuesday, they might add, somewhere in the 50s or 60s. However, don't go crazy, okay? Don't think to yourself you just want to YOLO into it, because like I said, the more call contracts that you buy out of the money, it helps these market makers continue to stay delta neutral without having to hedge their position, because inevitably you are doing the hedging for them, okay? And also, a lot of this is managed at the close of the day. Sometimes it can happen just too quickly intraday. So if you're trading contracts, that's why you can see the big difference here, all right, when it comes to what is volume, which was actually traded that day, and the open interest. The open interest is what will be carried overnight. This number will stay the same throughout the entire day until the close, and it'll get, readjusted and be updated in the morning, okay? So just keep in mind, if you are going to trade them, completely different. If you're going to continue to hold these overnight and you're looking for that Hail Mary, just remember, guys, that does offset some of that delta hedging that market makers would need to do. So guys, that is it for this video. Probably one of the most bullish candle I have seen on AMC in quite some time, dating all the way back to, all right, about that May 27th. Obviously, we had our massive run up on the 2nd, but that May 27th, and you can see it still, if I zoom in even closer, you can see there still was a pretty good size wick on that. So that is a very good sign, and continuing that momentum higher. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.